Usually we start the awards session with a tribute to the outgoing governor. And unfortunately, we don't have the opportunity to embarrass Dr. Gulati today, this afternoon, and we wish that she was here with us. But this has been when she first took the position of governor, and she asked me, Dobbin, what should I expect? And I told her, it's going to be the best 4 years of your professional life. And I'm not sure that it was for her, because it was the most challenging time to be a governor. She started in 2018. She started really strong, and then everything blew up. And over the past 2 years, the ACP, our chapter, we've had to do things and rethink things through a different lens. She's done just an absolutely amazing job with it. Challenging, but perhaps it may not have been as richly rewarding for her as it might have been for Mary and for Steve and for I, because some of the relationships that you build during your governorship are with the other governors, the connections that you make, and for Colleen Christmas, that's what I've tried to emphasize for her, is the joy of serving in this governor role. It's a lot of work, but the joy and the fun and the camaraderie, the collegiality is the gift that keeps on giving. So I want to honor Dr. Gulati for what she's done for our chapter over the past 4 years. It's been nothing short of amazing that she's been able to hold the chapter together with, of course, the assistance and support of Mary Ellen Woodward. So what we do is we usually give the outgoing governor a chair. And so we thought we should give her a special chair this year. So this is the Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne chair, which is a very unique chair. And I thought this would be like a great chair to give her. But then I thought, can you imagine sitting in that chair and watching a football game? No, that would be pretty painful. So that I don't think that would work. So we said, but we really should try to get her a unique chair for this very unique period during which she served as governor. So I said, what about this chair? This is a cool chair, right? So I looked into it. Hey, I'm sorry to tell you, it's plastic. This whole thing is plastic. It falls apart. It's just, so I hate to disillusion you all. This whole thing is a setup. It's a fake. All right, so we went the standard route, and we're going to get her a rocking chair, and it's going to have the ACP emblem on it. Her name will be on it. In fact, we have it already, and it's sitting in Mary Ellen's house, and we're going to get it to her, and she'll hopefully she'll enjoy it. I have one of these chairs. Steve Sisson has one of these chairs, and I told my wife, if we ever have a fire and our house is burning down, the only thing I'm going to go into that house and get is my chair, and and the rest of it can burn down. So I wish that Mangla was with us this evening, but we'll try to communicate to her the tremendous amount of gratitude that we as a chapter have for her, and that the great amount of work that she did over the past 4 years. Okay, so that's so now we're going to get on to the awards. Before we do that, I wanted to share with everyone what the process is, and just to reassure you that no money changed hands, and this is all above the board. So in the fall, we had a call for nominations to the entire membership of our chapter, and people could nominate folks for each of our awards. And so nominations came in. And then in December, our chapter has an awards committee, and the awards committee vets these awards, and they go into a padded room, and there's a lot of consternation, a lot of throwing of furniture, and we finally get to a vote, and a decision is made on each of these awards. So it's a process. It's a rigorous process. We think we're proud of it, and so I think all of these awardees are well vetted and very deserving. A similar process is going to occur this spring in terms of nominating folks for the national awards. So be thoughtful of folks that you might want to consider for nomination to the national awards. So let's go ahead and we'll start. The first award is the Ted Theodore Woodward Award, and that award is going to be introduced by George Lawrence, who will describe the award, and then he'll introduce the awardee. George?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you for getting the chair. I think it's a good selection. I agree with you, Dobbin. That was well done. Well, Dr. Sapna Keel is receiving this year's Theodore Woodward Award. This award is given in recognition for a physician's contributions to medical education. She's the director of the internal medicine residency program at St. Agnes Hospital. I'd like to start with a few comments about Dr. Woodward, for whom this award is named. I would start by saying I would recommend Googling Dr. Theodore E. Woodward and reading an informative and detailed online account of his many contributions to medicine, which is really written beautifully by one of our chapter members, Dr. Philip Makowiak. Dr. Woodward was considered a giant in infectious diseases and was one of the founders of the Infectious Disease Society of America, and he served as president for that society. One can get a glimpse of Dr. Woodward's written contributions by reading, if you have the older editions, Harrison's Textbook of Medicine. He authored the chapters on typhoid fever and the rickettsial disorders, and his descriptions remained for many years in many editions of that textbook. And in fact, he was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine for his studies on treating these disorders using the antibiotic that we don't use too much now, chloramphenicol, which saved so many lives. Dr. Woodward was very involved in our chapter activities, and in fact, he was elected and served as governor 50 years ago in 1972. And I can vouch for the fact that he encouraged his medical residents to join the ACP. And in recognition for his contributions to medical education, he did receive the college's Distinguished Teacher Award in 1992. Dr. Woodward was professor of medicine at the University of Maryland Medical School and chief of medicine at University Hospital for about 3 decades. And he selected the academic staff that did so much good research and also helped him in teaching of residents and students. Now, Dr. Woodward had the skill of making a person feel that he was speaking directly to them, even if they were in a large group of people in a conference. And in regard to Dr. Woodward's influence on those he did teach, I would like to quote Dr. Makowiak, quote, "For many of the more than 10,000 students and thousands more medical residents whose lives he touched, Dr. Woodward was a complete physician they all aspire to be," end of quote. There are numerous accounts of his contributions to medical education, and that's why we name this award after him. In closing my remarks on Dr. Woodward, I would like to mention just one example of his teaching philosophy. I was fortunate enough to be one of his many medical residents to experience him as a mentor, since my internship and 3 years of medical residency were under his direction. Now, he insisted that one of our duties as medical residents was to teach physical diagnosis to medical students. We thought at that time, with our on-call schedules being every other day and every other weekend, that was just too busy for us to spend all that time with students, going over their histories and demonstrating physical findings. But Dr. Woodward reminded us all in his way that in teaching others, we are the beneficiary and that we are the ones that learn. So Dr. Keel, in receiving this year's Woodward Award, it was the consensus of the awards committee that Dr. Chow just talked about, that she personifies Dr. Woodward's high standard of providing medical education. And it's also of passing interest that she was also one of those fortunate medical students that did have the opportunity to interact with him. And she says that she was very much influenced by him. I will just mention a few of Dr. Keel's accomplishments. For the past 12 and a half years, she's been the residency program director at St. Agnes Hospital. And if you happen to look for her at our hospital, she's almost always involved with a medical student or medical resident activity. She usually can be found at the daily 8 a.m. morning report and the daily noon medical conferences, listening to her medical residents' patient presentations and their case discussions and providing important feedback. But if she's not doing that, she'll be the one that will be giving the lecture to residents and students on perhaps a specific medical disorder or on a variety of topics, including that I wrote down that I listened to: medical ethics, clinical reasoning, understanding bias errors and biostatistics in order to better evaluate clinical studies, doing more for patients by doing less, and medical resident health and burnout issues, just to mention a few topics. Her residents are well prepared to take the boards with almost 100% pass rate, and they've been accepted into fellowship programs and work positions of their top choices. They often speak about how much they appreciate Dr. Keel's mentoring and personal attention. And thanks to her hard work, the residency program at St. Agnes has become very popular and very competitive. She also has an important role in the education of medical students that rotate onto our ward services. She ensures that only one of her residents is assigned to only one student at a time, a ratio of 1-to-1, which helps learning for the student and the resident, and participates in both the student lecture series and the student evaluations. And somehow, over the last 11 years, she has found time to teach physical diagnosis to Maryland medical students that come out to St. Agnes, doing 14 weekly 3-hour sessions each year. So I believe that activity would be applauded by Dr. Woodward. Dr. Keel is involved in our chapter's educational programs, and in closing, I'll just mention 2. She's responsible for the organization and operation of the Maryland Statewide Medical Resident Annual Meeting, which is also known as the Moeller-Mulholland Conference. Physicians from all over the city, academic staff from both our medical schools come to St. Agnes in the spring to judge and discuss resident case studies. And she participates in the ACP Nuts and Bolts workshop that instructs residents and students how to be successful in preparing and submitting abstracts, posters to medical meetings. So in summary, Dr. Keel, glad to see you, has followed Dr. Woodward's example. That is that one's professional growth is enhanced by teaching and contributing to medical education. And the awards committee felt that she does and has done that in spades. So congratulations, Dr. Keel, on receiving this very wonderful award.
Thank you so much, George. Thank you, everybody. I'm deeply honored. I got the award, actually. Mary Ellen was timely, and so I already got the award in the mail. Thank you so much. I just want to take a moment to thank, first and foremost, my husband, Peter, of 28 years, who I went to medical school with, and who has always believed in me and pushed me to stretch out of my comfort zone. My parents, who are both physicians, but particularly my father, who always taught and practiced surgery. He would practice surgery all day and then teach from 8 to 9 p.m. My mentors at University of Maryland, among so many have been on ACP, like Makoviak, Standiford, Dr. Kalia, Wolfstall. There's so many to name. The ACP Council and the awards committee for this great honor. Lastly, it is the patients and learners who constantly teach me more than I teach them. Thank you so much for this wonderful award. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations, Sapna. Okay, terrific. Next, we have the Samuel P. Asper Award. The Samuel P. Asper Award is an award. Think of it as the Doctor's Doctor Award. It's named for Dr. Asper, who was a distinguished physician in academic medicine here in Maryland. But he served as the 8R chapter governor in 1960 to 1966. And then he became the ACP vice president from 67 to 68. And he served as a president of the ACP from 69 to 70. He worked as the deputy executive vice president of the ACP from 78 to 81. He is he was a endocrinologist, and he served in he attended Baylor University for college and graduated from Johns Hopkins for medical school. Did his residency at Hopkins, and then during the war he served in Europe. After the war, he returned to Hopkins, and he introduced the use of radioactive iodine to diagnose and treat thyroid disorders. His teaching career there elevated him to be professor of medicine and endocrinology, chief of endocrinology, associate dean, director of admissions, a career at Hopkins that spanned 40 years. But from 1973, though, to 1978, he took a hiatus and went to the American University Hospital in Beirut and served as the head of the hospital there. It was during a very turbulent time, and he wrote a book called Care Among Chaos regarding his experiences there. He received many honors, and he was Dean Master of the College in 1973. And so the Maryland chapter has established the Samuel P. Asper Annual Award for Excellence in Medicine. This year, we're proud to name Netta Freja as the recipient of the award this year. Netta attended medical school at University of Maryland, stayed at University of Maryland for her residency in internal medicine, and then served as chief resident from 2009 to 2010. Following her training, she joined the University of Maryland faculty as assistant professor of medicine and assistant dean of student affairs, creating and leading many successful educational programs and won numerous teaching awards. During her time at the university, she also cared for inpatients on the inpatient service, as well as outpatients in the faculty practice office, working with her own panel of patients as a general internist and precepting residents in the continuity clinic. Netta has always been passionate about humanizing medicine through education and storytelling. So in 2018, she left the practice at University of Maryland, joined Ascension St. Agnes Medical Group as a primary care internist, and became a senior medical editor at Hippo Education, where she serves as editor and host of the Primary Care Reviews and Perspectives podcast, a continuing education podcast designed to keep primary care clinicians up to date. She has written widely for the Washington Post, produced public radio stories for WHYY in Philadelphia, and has been featured on podcasts such as the Curbsiders, the Nocturnists, and the Pulse. She's been inducted into Alpha Omega Alpha and the Gold Humanism Honor Society. So, when you think about, when I thought about what she's done, it's very striking that she's someone who, in the midst of a very robust and career, she pivoted, and she pursued a area that she'd had an interest in, and now she's developed a growing and compelling presence in the virtual medical space. She has a very active Twitter account. She's posting and sharing powerful medical content, creating insightful commentary for both lay as well as medical audiences, and utilizing a broad range of platforms and venues to reach a wide range of audiences. This is a very thoughtful, very innovative person, and I think we could find no one better this year than Netta Freja for this award. So Netta, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chow. That's incredibly kind. I have to say that this award means a tremendous amount to me because there's actually a very deeply personal connection to Dr. Asper. Excuse me. When I learned that I was receiving this award and I read about Dr. Asper and I saw the connection to the American University of Beirut, I immediately emailed my parents-in-law. So my parents are actually on this Zoom call. My father-in-law is Dr. Rida Freja. He did all of his training at the American University of Beirut before coming to Johns Hopkins. And I said, hey, did you know about Dr. Asper? Not knowing that not only did he know of him, they knew each other. They were friends. Dr. Asper was a mentor and a friend and a source of support to my father-in-law and his wife, my mother-in-law, Susie Freja. They were close in Beirut. They were close in Baltimore when they all were living in Baltimore afterwards. Shortly after that, my father-in-law notified some of his, friends and colleagues from the old days about this award, and the stories that came pouring forth about Dr. Asper's kindness, his humility, the incredible acts of generosity that he showed to medical students who were in a difficult spot, the loyalty that he showed to his colleagues during a time of war, the joy that he expressed about his time in Beirut when he came back to Baltimore. If I could just convey the degree of warmth and just genuine love for him and what a role model of humility he was that came through in all of these emails from people he had trained, that has meant everything to me. So I want to thank the ACP for this award. When I first learned about it, I thought, did you send this to the right person? I will very gratefully accept it. And I think that Dr. Asper's legacy shows that acts of kindness can stay with people for decades and decades and decades to come. And maybe that can give all of us hope in this very dark and difficult time sometimes. So thank you to Dr. Asper's family, and thank you to the ACP. I appreciate it so much.
Netta, thank you very much. So Rita Freja is someone that I've known for many years. He's a rheumatologist and general internist and practicing in the Baltimore community for longer than he probably would care to admit. Wonderful clinician and a friend. Okay, terrific. Okay, next we have the Mary Betty Stevens Award. And this is an award to recognize an individual who's made important contributions through clinical research. So Mary Betty Stevens is a distinguished rheumatologist and honored by both the American College of Physicians as well as American College of Rheumatology. She has she has a prolific career. It's entirely been here in Baltimore. She went to Hopkins for medical school, Hopkins for residency, and was the first woman division director at Hopkins, and she started a famous arthritis center, and she created this center based at Good Samaritan Hospital And it was a joint venture at the time between Hopkins and University of Maryland, and spanning faculty from both institutions. She has a huge legacy of rheumatologists whom she's trained and mentored. And it was a badge of honor to have claimed that they were trained by Mary Betty Stevens, the ultimate role model and mentor, someone who's revered in the field of rheumatology. This year, the winner of the Mary Betty Stevens Award is Dr. Wilbur Chen. Dr. Wilbur Chen is professor of medicine at University of Maryland School of Medicine and is one of the top national leaders in public health issues and vaccine research. He's a graduate of Howard University College of Medicine, completed his internal medicine residency at Johns Hopkins Bayview in 2002, and then he bravely crossed Charles Street and completed his ID fellowship at University of Maryland, and then thereafter joined the faculty. He's become the chief of adult clinical studies section with the Center for Vaccine Development. His primary research interests are in developing vaccines for the elderly and for enteric pathogens, the latter targeting resource-poor and economically disadvantaged countries. He's a member of the federal government's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practice, the ACIP, which Dr. Berry referenced in his lecture. That's the board that guides safe and effective use of vaccine worldwide. Dr. Chen has been instrumental in setting important policies for the management of COVID-19 pandemic here in Maryland, as he serves as a key member of Governor Hogan's coronavirus response team. Probably not a week doesn't go by where we don't see here at University of Maryland Dr. Chen's picture related to an announcement or a new policy or new approach to how we here at Maryland are trying to tackle our challenges with the pandemic. Dr. Chen, the ACP chapter is so proud to honor you with the Mary Betty Stevens Award. Congratulations on your work, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. I didn't prepare anything to say really, but I am truly humbled and honored by this award. And I know that when I look at the awardees of past years, I joined a group of people that I don't really feel I rise to the occasion to match. And I really feel that a lot of my research success is built upon the successes of other people. I truly believe in multidisciplinary research. And so I have a huge number of mentors over the years that have really been seminal in helping me to achieve my own personal success. But I don't feel that it's my own personal success, that it's a shared success. So, I do feel that, there are so many undeserving people. Well, I shouldn't say undeserving. Other people that don't get mentioned that really deserve this kind of awarding and attention. And I'll say, I have a huge clinical research staff that are working on COVID vaccines in these studies. And they are the unsung heroes of the present. So I do want to just say thank you so much for this privilege and honor to have this award. And, I will continue to fight for, public health policies and other things that make sense during this pandemic and even outside of it. And, I will continue to concentrate on raising the next generation of vaccinologists who will continue to do this, hopefully preventing vaccine preventable diseases throughout the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you. The next award is the Early Career Physicians Award. This is always such a competitive award, but let me just describe what the award is. It's an award given to a member of the Maryland chapter who is 16 years old. No, not 16 years old. 16 years or less out from medical school graduation, and that's the definition of early career physician. and each year, this is such a competitive category. And each of these people that we get in this category have achieved more in their 16 years than what most of us have achieved in our lifetimes. It's just amazing. So in general, the awardee should be a educator to patients and provide outstanding care to the medical community, be an active member of the ACP, and has contributed meaningfully to the efforts of the chapter. So this year, the award will go to Dr. Danielle Beck, and she more than defines the qualities for this award. Danny is an assistant professor of medicine at the University of Maryland School of Medicine and serves as the associate division chief for general internal medicine, the associate program director for the internal medicine residency program, and the director for ambulatory education. She is a colleague and a role model among her peers who leads selflessly and by example. She cares for those that work for her, encouraging them to pursue opportunities in line with their professional interests and career goals. She's a fierce advocate for her colleagues, especially those junior to her, and of her residents. She is kind to everyone, well-loved by colleagues, residents, students, and staff. She has a brilliant mind, and her brain works at warp speed and is able to swiftly tackle even the most complex of scheduling problems. She has a panel of patients who absolutely adore her. She is young, but has accomplished more than most have in a career. Beyond her accomplishments, she stands out as a tireless and selfless leader with a kind heart and a brilliant mind, always willing to go the extra mile for her patients, for her learners, for colleagues, without accolades or praise. She's a joy to work with, and has a good-natured spirit and heart to which all physicians should strive. I will say that University of Maryland has been challenged over the past 2 years and trying to deal with the pandemic, and a lot of that has fallen on Danny to stand up temporary screening programs, outpatient treatment programs, and these things, of course, needed to be stood up yesterday, and yet she's been able to hold it together and get these things organized in a way that is just miraculous, given the limited resources at the time. So a truly remarkable individual. We're so proud of you, Danny, and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. So I'll keep this short and sweet because I still feel that even after a year of having done a chief residency, I'm terrible at public speaking. So I just want to say thank you to you all, my colleagues, for this award. I was truly honored and very surprised when Mangla called me. So I'm originally from outside New York City, only kid, so I assumed I'd stay there forever. And so when I came down here, I was a little bit nervous because for training, because I didn't have a support system. I didn't have any mentors. I just didn't know, what I would do, obviously with training. And so, and I'm still here. So I think that really definitely speaks to the fantastic mentors from this ACP community that really have shaped who I've become as a physician educator, and probably a mom. So I'm very thankful for your leadership, guidance, and support. So thank you to them, and thank you all for this honor.
Thank you. Next is the Diversity and Inclusion Award. And this is our newest award, and Mary Newman is going to introduce the award and introduce the awardee. Mary?
So one of the things I'm continually struck by in our meetings, and whether they are small meetings or big meetings or scientific meetings, is how good they're getting. And one of the reasons they are so good now is that they are so much more inclusive. When I arrived on the council 24 years ago, I was the only woman, and all of the men had hair that was gray. And these were brilliant people in our profession. But the brilliance level has gone up as we have included many, many more people in our umbrella. I wish that the Diversity Award was named after somebody, but I could pick out from the screen in front of me a number of people it could be named after. And perhaps someday it will be named after Erica herself. So this is the second year. Erica could actually win any of the awards we're giving. I'm not sure about the 16-year thing, but everything else she could win. And if you look at her resume or her bio, you'll be blown away. I mean, here's a person who's an assistant professor of medicine in infectious disease at Hopkins, but she runs the Bayview residency program. She has a bachelor's from the University of Virginia in Charlottesville in Greek. Now, what? Talk about a Renaissance person. She has served in the armed services because she did her residency at Walter Reed. She did infectious disease at Brooke Army Medical Center. She got her medicine degree from the University of Maryland, and she's now on the faculty at Hopkins. I mean, she's hit every academic institution practically in this section of our country. She has quite an impressive job as being the Associate Vice Chair for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in Medical Education for Hopkins Department of Medicine. And she's the founding co-chair of our own diversity committee, serving with Kim Atkins. And we've talked about this committee for a long time, but now I think it's really, really starting off because of the work of Kim and Erica. She takes care of HIV patients. She serves on, she's the chair of the American Board of Internal Medicine Infectious Disease Board. I mean, and she also works, does lots of work for the program directors in internal medicine. So pick a category and you can just nominate her. In fact, Dobbin, make a list in case we need her for next year. At any rate, I am so pleased that you got this award. But as I say, you could get any award. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. That was so kind. I am.
It's not based on kindness.
I'm so very thankful to be receiving this award. And then also receiving it just makes me more aware of how much more there is to do, particularly in matters relating to advancing diversity, equity, inclusion in medicine. I love our chapter. We have such an amazing chapter, and I appreciate how fully the chapter not only embraced the decision to add the diversity committee, but has worked so hard to implement so many suggestions, and is also helping us think of the next initiative and the next initiative. And I think that the commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion in our chapter is so visible in a lot of explicit ways, and also in a lot of subtle ways too. I am grateful to be sharing this work with Diversity Committee co-founder, co-chair Kim Atkins, and our entire diversity committee. And I think in accepting it, I feel like this is a challenge and my own, sort of personal commitment to continue to do more on behalf of our chapter with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion in partnership with all of you. And then lastly, I know that my husband, Dr. Melvin Blanchard, is watching from his office across town. And I really want to thank him because we have, all can imagine, we have these conversations at home where we really push each other, where we're talking about matters related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's from these conversations and being engaged in that way that allows me to, I think, really parse out these matters, think about them differently, and think about other things I'd like to address in my work, both for the chapter and in the residency program at Hopkins, and beyond. So thank you so much, and this is my commitment to continue to do more.
I think we can all say we knew her when. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you both. Next is the Hospitalist Award, and to describe the award and to introduce us to the awardee with Dr. Richard Williams.
Thank you, Domin, and good evening, colleagues. It's my pleasure to present the Maryland ACP Outstanding Hospitals Award for 2022. The award was developed in 2009 to recognize an inpatient physician who demonstrated particular skills as a teacher and caregiver and who showed dedication to the mission of our chapter. Speaking of this year's recipient, one of his residents notes, he's one of the best teaching attendings. He has a great fund of knowledge, and he shares that knowledge with respect and kindness. He cares about our patients and all the members of the team. Our recipient is indeed very supportive of his residents and students in multiple settings. You can count on him being out on the field joining his resident team in our annual Crab Fall Soccer Tournament. He often leads Clinical Problem Solvers virtual morning report for local, international students and residents. He's a key member of our Maryland ACP International Medical Graduate Committee, and he serves as a judge in our annual Doctor's Dilemma competition. Because of the contributions of young physicians like our recipient, the future of medicine in Maryland and our ACP chapter is bright. As one of his teachers and mentors through medical school and residency, it's with particular pride that I recognize the recipient of this year's Outstanding Hospitals Award, Dr. Revitesh Kunkun. Ravi, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Williams, for that very kind introduction. I also want to appreciate Dr. Janaki Deepak, one of my co-residents at MedStar Harbor, and also Dr. Thomas and Dr. Sharps, who I currently work with as an APD at Sinai. So I was thinking, like, what was one of the most important qualities I learned from Dr. Williams, initially as a student, then as an intern, resident, and chief resident. It was kindness and generosity. Like Nada had mentioned about kindness being a very, very valuable part of our practice, especially with both learners and also with our patients. Dr. Williams was always very kind, and I incorporated that into my teaching philosophy. And today, I kind of would like to say that my students and residents are reaping the rewards of what you had instilled in me back many years ago. So it's truly an honor to be considered amongst all the esteemed colleagues that are here today. So I appreciate everyone for this award. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi.
Well, one of the most amazing attributes about Dr. Ravi that he failed to mention is that he was the resident when Dr. Deepak was his intern. I can't imagine being in that position. Well, anyway, congratulations. Okay, so next is the Phil Mackowiak Award for Medical Student Excellence. I'm going to, so normally this award is announced and given by Dr. April Fitzgerald, and she does a wonderful job doing that. And so she wasn't, she's sad that she wasn't able to join us, but she gave me a thing to read. So I'm going to read it. This award is given to recognize and honor a medical student member of the Maryland chapter who has made outstanding contributions in promoting interest among other students in pursuing careers in internal medicine, scholarship and academic excellence among her peers, and advocacy for patients and their healthcare needs. This student should embody the values and qualities of Dr. Phil Mackowiak, who is a passionate and tireless advocate for medical student education and a widely recognized role model, advisor, and mentor for medical students. Finally, the student should have contributed meaningfully to the activities and efforts of the Maryland ACP chapter that are directly related to addressing the needs and interests of the chapter's medical students. It is with great pleasure that we present Madeline Purcell with the American College of Physicians Phil Makoviak Award for Student Excellence. Madeline, or otherwise she's called Maddie, is a third-year medical student at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, has been instrumental in supporting ACP events in the Maryland medical student community. Maddie represents the University of Maryland School of Medicine at the student committee of the Maryland chapter of the ACP. In addition, she leads student committee meetings. She helped recruit and plan the annual Richard Williams student meeting in February 2021. She helped create the agenda for the meeting, invited speakers, and proofed the registration and promotional materials. She worked together with students from Johns Hopkins and from Uniform Services University to develop a workshop on the intersectionality in medicine, gender, and bullying. That workshop was presented 3 times by Maddie and her co-presenters to ensure that all the attendees would have an opportunity to participate. They did an excellent job and the workshop was well received. Maddie, I would like you to know that the high bar that Dr. Makoviak has set as an example is what we expect out of you in your future. Of course, we expect you to achieve the academic rank of full professor because you will have published more than 150 articles, written multiple books, and run an internationally acclaimed conference each year. You will have become a department vice chair, become a chief of medicine at the VA, and achieve the title of Master of the American College of Physicians. Dr. Makoviak has set a high bar for accomplishments in medicine, and we both hope and expect your accomplishments will be equally as impressive as your career progresses. We know that you have a running start with your career in internal medicine. We're pleased to present you with the Phil Makoviak Award for Student Excellence. Congratulations, Maddie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chow. That means a lot. I hope I can live up to all of that, but I'm so grateful to be a part of the ACP and to have worked with such amazing people over the past 2 years. I definitely have grown a lot through knowing everyone that's involved in the ACP, and I don't think that I would be as happy as I am in medicine without the interactions that I've had so far. And I'm also super thankful to all of my friends and my parents and my entire family for supporting me throughout my journey. So thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Maddie. And now we have the Mary Ellen Woodward Chapter Service Award. So this award was formerly called the Chapter Service Award to recognize someone in our chapter who served selflessly and passionately on behalf of our chapter. It was a way to recognize someone whose contributions were invaluable to the smooth running of all of our events. But unlike the other awards, this award was totally up to the discretion of the reigning governor to decide the awardee each year. In 2018, this award was renamed the Mary Ellen Woodward Chapter Service Award to honor the longstanding executive director of our esteemed chapter, Mary Ellen Woodward. I mean, basically what happened was she would win the award every year. And so to prevent that from happening, we had to name the award after her. Mary Ellen, Dr. Galati was the one who selected the awardees for this year, but Mary Ellen will introduce them. Mary Ellen?
Hi, nice to see everyone. It's been a wonderful day. And Dr. Galati was kind enough to send me some words of appreciation. We have 2 winners, Ted Cumston and Jordan Denner. And really, without those 2 wonderful guys, we would not have made it through the last 20 years. That's, we need that kind of support for sure. So Ted has been a wonderful addition to our Maryland ACP activities during our time in the virtual arena. He has been with us through 2 chapter meetings, 2 residents meetings that needed over 24 breakout rooms to be available, at least 10 workshops, and has spent countless hours making sure that our Maryland chapter activities run seamlessly. We really could not have continued our amazing activities during the past 2 years without Ted. Ted, you are so very deserving of this award. And we thank you very much. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this award. It totally caught me off guard, and I'm very thank you very much.
And last but never least, Jordan Denner has been our AV person at the chapter meeting for over 18 years. During that time, he has become an integral part of these meetings. He is devoted to ensuring that all runs perfectly, smoothly for our in-person meetings. He has also been invaluable in ensuring that our Doctor's Dilemma programs, which can sometimes be extremely tricky, as everyone has experienced, run perfectly. He and his wife, Aggie, have been troopers, even during that snowstorm, which Dr. Mary Newman will remember, that no one will ever forget because we all got stuck in Turf Valley for the entire weekend, including Jordan and his wife. And it was a really crazy weekend. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, I don't think I ever had more fun.
Yeah, very much fun, but I felt like, but I was eating good because I was eating from a high-class restaurant. They were charging me nothing. I mean, they had all that surplus food and I was there to eat it. So good deal for me. We cannot thank you enough for being one of the most important parts of our team. Thanks so much, Jordan. So thanks to Jordan and Ted. Thank you so much. And Dr. Galati, she really wishes she could be here this evening, as everyone knows. And just, we thank you again. Everyone, wonderful awardees.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. So congratulations again to all those who won awards. This is how I view the awards. Sure, it's good to acknowledge wonderful people and shine a light on them. We have many well-deserving folks in our chapter. For the rest of us, it's so important, I think, to be able to understand the path that these folks have taken, and also the path that the award, the name of the folks that these awards were named after. Understand those people, because for some of us, sometimes as we walk down our professional paths, the path gets a little cloudy. There's fog in the road. It's not the way is not clear. And these people, the people that we named the awards after, the people who won the awards today, these people are the ones who pave the road, who light the way. They are guideposts. And by listening to their story, seeing how they go about their business, modeling ourselves after them, we can. I think that's I think the value and the joy of these kinds of ceremonies. So in that spirit, I want us to end today reflecting, thanking, congratulating, but also reflecting, and that hopefully that for all of us as a community, this makes us all better. So thank you for hanging in there. It's been a long day. Tomorrow morning starts off with a great. It's always that's always that great lecture at 8 o'clock in the morning on dermatology, and so don't miss that one. We have a great day tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you all there. And is there, Steve, do you want to make any last comments? Anything that business-wise that you need to mention before we end?
No, I think we all get inspired. I think today was an amazing day, actually. I think the talks were great. We had really great diversity of topics. And then to be inspired by our awardees tonight just is icing on the cake. So I just leave today feeling proud of our profession, proud of our chapter, proud of what the ACP brings to what we do as physicians. It's just one of those days that I'm proud to be who I am. I love our chapter and our everyone that's on the Zoom. It's really been a great start.